Hi everybody, my name is Pat Cack, I'm with DAP. Today's Caulk Talk will include why do you caulk, surface prep and removal, choosing the right product, and then just taking a look at your job, and the types of jobs that you're going to do. To start, well, why do you caulk? Do you fill a crack? Well, there's different cracks that do different things. So one of which is to keep the elements out of your house, keep air and moisture from getting into your house, to keep pests from coming into your house, also to keep windows and doors nice and sealed, to make them look good, to keep radon penetration, kind of getting into your house from the cracks in your basement. That's not an issue everywhere, but that's another consideration. Also, around the home, blacktop cracks, roof repair, concrete caulking, and that sort of thing. All sorts of things that you could do to caulk. So in terms of that, I can move on now to surface prep. So removing the caulk is ideal because the caulk will stick fine to the caulk that's there, but if that caulk is failing, well then your caulk job is going to be really bad. The best thing to do is to remove it, obviously. So there's ways to do that. You can start with this because even if you do use a caulk remover, it doesn't melt or disintegrate the caulk like paint removers will. So basically you do want to cut as much out as you can, whether it's inside or outside, whether it's your tub or whether it's concrete, whether it's gutters or windows and doors, keeping careful, obviously, not to harm the surface that you're trying to protect. You need to be pretty good with one of these. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can pay someone to do it, which is very nice too. The removers that are out there, there's many, many different kinds. Devon Hardware has this product, and we don't make it, but I found that it's really good. It's called Matzenbacher's caulk remover. So like I said before, this works on latex, this works on silicone, it works on spray foam, polyurethane foams. But what this actually does, it doesn't melt the caulk or remove it. It eliminates the bond between that and the surface. So if you have hard caulk or even silicone or that sort of thing, something that's really flexible, and we'll get into that later, this will help remove the bond from that and the surface, whatever's remaining that you don't cut out. Once you do that, you want to make sure you scrape the surface. I like using a plastic putty knife on the inside because you don't want to mar your surfaces, whether it's granite, whether it's porcelain, whether it's tile, glazed tile, because if you use a metal on a glazed surface, you can transfer some of that metal onto the surface. You burnish it and it looks really bad. That's happened to me in my life, so I don't do that anymore. But a nice sharp plastic putty knife would be good for that. And the more, just let this chemical do the work. There's no reason to put too much elbow grease into that because you're not going to get that off anyway. You need a remover to help you with that. Once you remove the caulk that's on that surface, specifically kitchen and bath, I want you to wipe that down with acetone or nail polish remover, that sort of thing. That creates a nice surface. To finish removing that caulk, follow that up with denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol will keep that surface nice and clean. It won't leave a residue. Mineral spirits, don't use mineral spirits because that leaves a residue. And the product that you're putting on after that won't want to stick at that point. Denatured alcohol does a nice job, or rubbing alcohol, whatever you have at home. You can use a rag, you can use a cotton ball, whatever you want to use. Once that's dry, you can apply your product. So we'll start with the interior. There's a good, better, best system with just about every product on the market, and caulk is no exception. Here's your acrylic latex kitchen and bath caulk. This is good for tub and tile. It's good for around your toilets. It's good for around countertops. It is a latex. So latex is cleaned up with soap and water. Generally, they're good. They won't last forever. But if you need to get something done in a pinch, turn an apartment, do whatever you need to do, this will work nice. This you can expose to water in 24 hours. This is it's called Quick Seal. It's a latex. And it's paintable as well. It's got mold and mildew inhibitors in there as well. They do a nice job for you. The next step up, this is a siliconized acrylic latex. So a little bit of silicone polymer. This adds more flexibility and better adhesion and more durability. This dries really glossy. This does not. So this does a nice job on helping the water kind of beat off the surface, and it won't collect on that caulk surface. This is paintable as well. This has a product called Microban in it. And microban is a mildewcide and fungicide, so that it'll inhibit that growth. Now, if you don't clean the area that you're using, mildew and crud can stick. If it sticks to that surface, mildew can grow on that. They use soap scum as a food source. If you have very poor ventilation in your bathroom, generally the shower is a pretty tough place in the house. Everybody has a little bit of mold here and there in the shower. So the best thing to do is remove it and apply something like this on there. This is going to be the best latex that you're going to use. Soap and water cleanup. This is called Quick Seal Ultra. What we call this, it's still a siliconized acrylic, but the polymer mix in there is such that we have easy clean technology in here. So this product does an excellent job of having dirt, soap scum, roll off that surface even better than Quick Seal Plus. This has a lifetime guarantee against mold and mildew growth, and also durability. It won't yellow on you. It comes in a white, a clear, and a biscuit, which is kind of a light beige. This is not paintable. So this would be the closest thing to a tub and tile caulk, tub and tile silicone that I'll get into. But it's a latex, so you don't have any extra solvents that you have to use to clean it up. Soap and water cleanup off your hands. Very fast cure. You can expose this to water in only 4 hours with a latex. This is still 24. Both of these products are 24 to 36. This is 24. This is only 4. So if you have a wedding in the morning and you have to caulk that shower, then you can use this and shower at the end of the day or whatever you want to do. But very low odor. This works. This is the best latex we make. Yes, and Clark Devon Hardware has it right in the caulk aisle. On the tub and tile, yep. So if you have a tub, this is the best to use for that. Yes.
Hello.
Oh yes, of course. So we'll get into silicone. Now there's a couple types of silicones too. This is called acetoxy. Acetoxy is simply, it smells like acetic acid or vinegar when it's curing. That's what it releases. This is great for hard glazed surfaces. It creates a great bond. It's super tough and durable. It withstands a lot of cleanings. The only drawback on this is that if you put it on a stone or a metal surface, what does acid do to stone or metal? It can corrode it. It can. Doesn't mean it's going to necessarily with grout and that sort of thing. But where you're going to have a failure with this type of product, with an acetoxy cure, a vinegar type curing silicone, is going to be on a porous surface, natural surface, stone or metal and that sort of thing. So that's where you'll have the failure on this. That's really the only drawback with this type of silicone.
Glass to glass?
Yes, yes. It's not a glazing product. I would not use it as a glazing product.
I'm doing a lot of sculpture where I'm gluing glass onto glass.
Now, are you looking for it just to layer it on top, or?
You know, like I'm stacking vases of different shapes.
I'd rather use a construction adhesive for that. We'll take that offline, if that's okay. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. This is Silicone Plus. Silicone Plus is a neutral cure product. I like this better for kitchens and baths. If you want to go with the best product, you're only paying a couple bucks more a tube, and this will go 56 feet, 56 linear feet. So you're getting as much product. You get a lot of use out of this, I guess you could say. This does not smell. This sticks to all your different porous and non-porous surfaces, just like this, except this will not stain granite. It won't stain stone. You can use it on marble. You can use it on grout. You can also use it on, there's a concrete product of this type that you can use outside. It won't corrode concrete or anything like that. So this is a nice product. This has a 30-minute water resistant guarantee on there. So you caulk, and you're talking about doing something quick. You can caulk and expose this to water within 30 minutes, or after only 30 minutes, depending on the bead. It's got a 5-year mold resistant guarantee on there. So as long as you keep it clean, because as I said earlier, if you have soap scum and stuff sticking to that, the mold can actually stick to that and grow on that instead. So you still want to maintain your surface. This has excellent adhesion to all sorts of interior building materials. You can edit that, and it's got great results. It tools out nice. It's smooth. You cannot paint these two products either. These are silicone, so you cannot paint silicone. If anybody tells you can paint silicone, you cannot paint silicone. So any questions on kitchen and bath? Before I get to that, we also have squeeze tubes of the 3 products that we talked about. Smaller areas. You get about 30 30 linear feet out of this on a 3/16 speed, and it kind of graduates, so you cut it on a 45-degree angle, and then you can squeeze and go. And I'll show you how to do that later. All right, so exterior products, we can get into, there's good, better, best as well. When you're talking exteriors, this is the minimum I would use. It's called Alex Plus. This is acrylic latex plus silicone. It's got a 40-year guarantee against manufacturing defects. If you want to glue two pieces of concrete together, it's not going to last for 40 years. You know, that's how that goes. This is paintable in 30 minutes. It's good flexibility, good adhesion. This is the best product of its kind that's out there. It comes in 10 different colors, and clear and white. You can paint this, like I said, in 30 minutes. This will be your... You can use it inside or outside. This is the minimum I would use outside if you really have to use something outside. The best product I would use as a latex for outside is Dynaflex 230. This is the first product. It came out 35 years ago, and 32 years ago, sorry, 1985. It's the first latex product that met the silicone spec for flexibility, durability, adhesion, and weathering. This will not yellow, it will not crumble, it will not crack out. It comes in 8 different colors and clear. You can paint this in 2 hours. It's elastomeric, so what that means, very stretchy. It stretches about 400%. And it's going to handle all your joint movement in the house, whether it's crown molding, whether it's exterior windows and doors. If you want to use a latex, this is the latex to use because you have all the different colors as well. Paintable in 2 hours. You get into...
When you use that, you need to paint?
You don't have to. You can leave it alone. You don't have to paint, but if you wanted to, you can. It can.
I have a tack pointing on the side of the wall.
Yes.
Outside, and then I noticed that it's coming, so I could use that.
Well, if in terms of tuck pointing, we do not recommend that to tuck point. You would still need to use mortar for that. Oh yeah, you can use that. Certainly. That will be fine. Now, obviously, I don't know your particular situation or where it is, but on a general purpose, if you wanted to use something like that, you can at the bottom where where the bottom kind of meets the brick, right? It's called Dynaflex. There's better products, and I'm getting into that. All right, so exterior, you also have silicone, just like interiors. This is an acetoxy silicone. This comes in white, clear, and a bunch of different colors, including black. Great adhesion to aluminum, vinyl, decent to vinyl, but mostly aluminum. Other types of metal for outside. It does a nice job on wood. You don't want to use this on brick. It will not work on brick because it cures with that acetic acid, and acetic acid will corrode brick. It will not stick to brick very well. The next step up, Silicone Plus, this is what you want to use if you have one product that you want to use outside. That's a silicone, if you have to use silicone. This will stick to brick, this will stick to mortar, this will stick to metal, this will stick to wood. It's got great adhesion. It's called Silicone Plus. Also, a 30-minute water guarantee on the outside of your home too. So, like yesterday, if you had to caulk yesterday, and you know how intermittently that it rained yesterday, you could kind of get around the raindrops and caulk and use this if you wanted to.
So it's better, that one or that one?
This will be better and more durable over time, this product. But there's a specific situation that you'd want to use either one. If you want to use a latex, you don't feel comfortable wiping your hands up with mineral spirits when you're done, this is a good way to go. You can use gloves too. Oh, sure. All right, so this is called Sidewinder. This is a polymer product. This also comes in white and clear and a bunch of different colors that's in the caulk aisle. This kind of blends between a latex and a silicone. It's silicone based, and it's an all-weather sealant. It has immediate water resistance for exteriors. You can use it inside, but really it's an exterior grade product. This will stick to everything you can think of. Wood, metal, painted surfaces, unpainted surfaces, stone, vinyl, aluminum. Also, this is paintable in 2 hours. So the temperature range on this type of product is negative 20 degrees all the way up to 120 degrees. You can apply this. You can almost apply this in the rain. It's got immediate water resistance. It won't wash out. It could deform from the raindrops, but it's not going to wash out. This product is excellent. It clean up with paint thinner or Goo Gone or one of those other types of paint remover, like those tub of towels or whatever you got, that has a little bit of cleaner in it. That'll work on this. Mineral Spirits works the best. This is great on fiber cement. It's good on brick. It's good on vinyl siding, like I said. All weather sealant, all situations, all surfaces. This is a great product to use. If you're wondering, like I said, if it's in the winter, you can't use a latex. If it's too cold, you can't use a silicone either because you can only go down to 40 degrees with a silicone. This you can go below zero, and it cures out by grabbing moisture in the air. So this is an excellent product for that. Now when you get into paint projects, and I think that's mostly why people think of caulking as painting, right? So there's a good, better, best, and better, better, better in that regard too. So here is your, this is called Alex Painters. Acrylic latex, paintable in 2 hours. Decent flexibility. If you have a house that's already settled in and not moving a lot, and you're not really worried about movement in the joint that you're caulking, this is a great way to go. This is called Alex Plus, or Alex. Alex Plus, remember, you can use this inside or outside. So this will be the next step up. Better durability, better flexibility, better paintability, and you're painting in about 30 minutes with this. If you have to paint even faster, this is called Alex Fast Dry. This is a 20-minute repaint time. So you're caulking in 20 minutes, you can paint generally. Now, a rule of thumb when you're painting over caulk, all caulk shrinks a little bit. And all interior latex products are paintable. So the only thing I would suggest if you are painting, if you're using a dead flat paint, don't paint these right away because as the caulk shrinks a little bit, that dead flat paint will not handle that shrink and you can get a little spider web cracking on there. That's just a small issue. It's more aesthetic than anything. Your paint's not going to fall off. It doesn't mean the caulk's bad. It just means you got on top of it too fast with a product that's not flexible. So apartment paint, dead flat for new homes, that sort of thing. You want to wait a little longer if you're using a dead flat. Eggshell, satin, semi, no big deal. You can paint 30 minutes, 40 minutes with the fast dry products, 2 hours with the products that don't dry as fast. You won't have any issues with that. Generally, depending on the weather and if it's cool or humid inside the house, and that's one thing. The next step up on these interior paint type of projects, this is called Alex Flex. So Alex Flex blends a fast dry, fast paintability, great adhesion to all your different building materials on the inside. So whether it's pine, pre-primed MDF, PVC, composite trims, everything that you can use inside. It has the flexibility of an elastomeric, so it's stretchy, so it's not going to crack on you when you're doing crown molding, whether you're doing miter joints or you're doing just molding and trim on the inside of your house, wainscoting, that sort of thing, if you're worried about cracking. This will not shine up your paint either. A lot of times if you have a product that's really high polymer and super flexible, you can tend to have a little bit of shining on top of that, on top of the caulk. This will not do that. So it's formulated to not only paint fast, not have shiners, but not crack either, which is really nice. You can use it outside if you really wanted to, but it's generally geared towards interior molding and trim and for speed. So professional painters, if you have to flip a room in a weekend, if you're doing your bedroom and you want to get it done, generally you don't have to wait 2 hours or overnight to caulk or to paint over the caulk. This is a great way to go. It's called Alex Flex. Comes in white only, which is 90% of the caulk that you sell here anyway, is white caulk. Dynaflex, I mentioned this earlier. You can use this outside, but you can also use it inside. There's nothing in it that is going to harm you in terms of odor or anything like that. Excellent paintability as well. Super tough product, super flexible, and it takes paint really great. If you're worried about a very, very high movement joint, this is the way to go on the inside of your house. Now, I would wait more than 2 hours to paint on the inside because you don't have I just worry that if it's a big high moving joint and there's a lot of sealant in there, you don't want to paint too fast because it's still curing out. So this is great for everything Alex Flex does, except it's got a little more flexibility to it, and this doesn't have the shiners as much as a higher polymer product like this will. So we also have specialty caulks. So specialty caulks for exterior or interior, but generally exterior caulk, the way most manufacturers and the way we do it. Roof, pretty easy, right? You're going in there, you're shopping the caulk aisle, and this is roof. This is asphalt based. So you can use this to repair, to tab your shingles. You can use it around flashing, around chimneys. It blends in because it is black on a roof, and that sort of thing. Super tough, Asphalt, you clean up with mineral spirits or paint thinner, and this is the way to go. Concrete. So latex concrete. This is essentially, it's a very similar product to Alex Plus, but it's got gray in it. For your tuck pointing, this is a good way to go as well, because it is concrete gray. And you can paint this in a couple hours as well if you had to, but for vertical or horizontal joints, this is an excellent product to use. Very easy to use, heavy duty, and it's a latex product. So you clean up with soap and water. Blacktop. What do you use this on? Use your driveway. So if you have driveway cracks that are less than a ½ inch, less than 3/8 to a ½ inch, an asphalt blacktop sealant will work for you very well. Anything bigger than that, there's other products in the store I think in the blacktop section or the driveway section that they have here that you can use. They're more brushing or pourable type products for a wider joint like that. Or you can use a polyurethane black. This also cleans up with mineral spirits. All right, so let's see. When you're caulking and you apply your caulk, you can use the DAP cap. So the DAP cap does two things. It can help your caulk store. So once you cut the tip, you put that cap on. Most people throw a nail or I don't like that because it can rust. Tape or something else that you can plug in there. DAP cap works nice too. You can also use this as a finishing tool instead of a wet finger. When you're tooling off your bead. So I'm gonna bring this up in a couple minutes too and kind of show you how to apply it. All right. This is called Pro Caulk. This is an 8-piece caulk finishing kit. So you have an extended nozzle. You have a couple caps here, and this thing's really nice on granite because when you're finishing off your bead, all you do is kind of pull this, and then it removes any excess, and it leaves a nice finished bead there for you. And I'll show you how to caulk it, so you don't really need to use one of these anyway. All right, so, this is called backer rod. You want to use closed cell. Closed cell and open cell are two different things. Closed cell simply means that it's a little, or this is called backer rod. Yeah, closed cell. So closed cell means there's no air in it, and it's, if you end up poking it, you're not going to get an air bubble through your caulk. So anything wider than a ½ inch generally, or an inch, or anything deeper than a ½ inch, you want to use backer rod. And this comes in different widths too. It comes in, I think, anywhere from a ¼ inch all the way to an inch. You can get it in the caulk aisle as well. But what you do, if it's wide and deep, you get the size that's just bigger than the crack, and you kind of put it in there. And if you have an inch crack, you want to put it in about a ¼ inch so that you have about a ¼ inch of caulk to work with. You don't want to make it so that it's flush with the surface because that'll interfere with how the bead looks. It just won't look good. This will help so that two things. You're not wasting a whole bunch of material shoving it into that gap and just running it to wherever it's going to run, because it could be vertical, it could be horizontal. You're just wasting material that way. The other point too is with caulk, you only want 2-point adhesion. So say you have a joint, and this is one side, this is the other side. You only want the caulk to stick to each side of the joint. You don't want caulk to stick to the bottom, because what happens, it'll crack in the middle no matter what, because it doesn't have a chance to move. And caulk doesn't stick to this product because it's rubbery, waxy, and nothing will stick to this. So your caulk has an opportunity now to only move on either side of the joint, whether it's 2 pieces of wood, whether it's a window and you're brick molding, or 2 pieces of concrete on the ground or up. That's what you want to use in that situation. This also helps with weatherproofing and that sort of thing too, because you're guaranteed you're getting a tight fit and no air or moisture is going to get in there. It's a lot to think about. Do you have any questions right now? Before
I saw the people who work in my house, they put it, where there's the cement?
Mm-hmm.
I saw them use that.
Yes, you can use that. And then do they caulk over it, I hope?
Yeah,
They should have.
I don't understand that before.
Oh yeah, that's so they don't waste a whole bunch of material. Because if 1 tube of caulk you can throw into a gap this long, if it's really deep, you're just shoving wasted material in there, and it's not going to work anyway because you're just filling the joint with something, and then when it moves, it's going to crack right in the middle. So that's how that goes. All right, so application. Let's see if I can clear off this table a little bit. Oh, we have a couple other specialty items. So Window glazing, for those that have wood windows, there are no, it's kind of a category that's not growing as we get into vinyl and aluminum windows and that sort of thing. So this kind of replaces the putty that you would use to set glass on windows. This is a nice product too. It's a latex. Takes a couple days to cure out before you prime and paint it. But really you set it up on, you insert your glass, you put your glazer points in to keep the glass in, and then you can almost caulk this along so that one part hits the glass, one part hits the wood, and you have that little glazing action going on. So it stays pretty flexible over time so that it doesn't dry hard and crack on you. And seal and peel is a temporary weather seal, whether it's for windows, doors. If you have a drafty window in the winter or the summer, you can put this on, and then in a couple months you can actually peel it off at the end of the winter so that everybody's house is closed up in the winter, so you can find areas that water's getting in, or air is getting in rather, and this will seal off the air. This actually, you have xylene in there. Pardon me? Oh, that was him, sorry. This doesn't stain. It smells a little bit like xylene and a little bit of vanilla. So you do want to turn off the pilot lights in your house if there's one next to it, because there are some flammable liquids in there. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no big deal. You can edit this out anyway. All right, so here's your project, right? All right, so first thing you do, take your caulk tube. Depending on how wide the crack is, we recommend a 3/16 bead in most situations. That's not quite a 1/4 inch. If it's a real tight joint, you can go a little bit more narrow than that, but you run the risk of not having enough material to stretch when that joint moves. So typically, you would go through, you cut it about that much on a roughly a 45-degree angle. See that? And you throw away that piece. You load it into your caulk gun. You kind of run a little practice bead to see how it comes out. Different caulk guns are different. Now, what most people do when they're caulking is they pull the caulk. All right? And caulk guns are good too, because this one backs off so you don't have any afterflow on this. And the way we manufacture our sealants also, it doesn't have afterflow anyway. So it's a nice little touch. This happens to be Alex Fast Dry. Okay, so when you run a bead like that, you can lick your finger, or you can use a gloved finger, whatever you want to use, and then you can kind of tool it. But look what happens when you tool this. See how it kind of gets all over the place? Let's see, I'll show you that. It gets a little bit on this surface here, and it gets up on the board as well. So there's a way to minimize that situation. If you guys can see that. Here, I'll show you. I'll just do this way. So what we recommend, and it's a good practice, instead of pulling the bead, which is what we call it, pulling the bead. Now I haven't done this in a little while, so let's see if I can do this right. So really, you load your caulk gun, and you can push your bead into the surface. See how that's a little cleaner? And then when you end up doing that, you don't get as much spread out all over the place. Windows and doors, window and door contractors will do that all the time. What they'll do, they'll cut it straight across, and they'll get in the joint, they'll pull it down that way, and then they'll leave it. That's a great way to get a tight bead. Let's try that with this. So you can kind of just go ahead. In general, you do want to tool it only because you want to make sure you work that caulk into the joint so that it has a chance to grab adhesion on all sides. There's products that you can use outside that will minimize that need for tooling because they shrink. They call that self-tooling. I call it shrinking. So you can also do it like this. So see how nice that looks? Maintain even pressure. You can go ahead, real light touch. You very much minimize that sort of thing. So you can use it on a 45-degree angle, or you can cut it straight across. If you cut it straight across, you want to have it straight across and kind of pull it or push it that way. If it's on a 45-degree angle, you want to push, only because you're not going to have a whole bunch of this going on. And it's going to end up getting all over the place, see? So in 20 minutes, you're painting with this product, which is really nice. So if you, like I said, if you have to do a bedroom over a weekend or one day, this is a good product to use. This product also, where is Alex Flex? That was hanging around somewhere. I think it's in, here it is. This is a better product only because it's more flexible and you're still painting in only 30 minutes. So instead of 20 minutes, it's 30 minutes. Well, I mean, let me see, 77 degrees and 50% relative humidity. Every benchmark has to have a certain testing. But I will tell you that I have used this, and I've used Aura in 30 minutes over this. I've used Advance, Benjamin Moore Advance, which is a trim paint. It's a waterborne alkyd. I've used that in 30 minutes. No cracking whatsoever. This stuff paints up so well, and it tools out super easy. And not even really being smushy. It's just, it's easy to gun, it's easy to tool, and it paints up beautifully. So does Alex Fast Dry for that matter. All of our products really do. So, any questions on application? No, you don't. And the reason is, that's why we have 5.5 ounce squeeze tubes. So this will get you about 30 minutes, and I'll open this one up. Or I'm not 30 minutes, I'm 30 linear feet. So same sort of thing. You go ahead. You have a lot of control then with this too. So I'll turn this around, and we'll kind of put some on in the middle of this bead here. You know, if you have 30, 40 feet, you can buy a couple of these tubes. You don't have to buy a caulk gun, and that works too. So like I said, you kind of get an idea of what it's going to do coming out of there based on the pressure that you put on there. And then you just apply the caulk. Then you tool it off. And you get very, very, very little overflow and no overflow because it's a squeeze tube. And it almost lasts forever in the tube too, because you don't have to put a nail in it. You don't have to put tape on top or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, generally when you're talking shelf life, we guarantee our products for 1 year. If you have a product on a year that's sitting up there more than a year, you probably shouldn't be selling it only because it's not right for this area, right? Or people aren't asking for that particular product or that sort of thing. You know, we'll say 12 months, 18 months usually will work, but we guarantee it for 12 months. Once it's open, you know, it depends how much air gets in there. The latexes will last longer because you can keep air from getting in. A product like this Sidewinder, it's not going to last long, only because, like a silicone, it reacts with moisture in the air, and once you open that up, you've automatically started that catalyzation with that type of product. So the reaction of the air with the material and the moisture in the air with the material. So you're not going to get very long with this. It's only $6 anyway. We spend $6 on a cup of coffee sometimes. So, you know, if you go to the wrong place, it's $6. But anyway, silicone's that way. What's nice about, well, I wanted to get to Sidewinder too. What's nice about Sidewinder, this goes on crystal clear and it dries crystal clear, which is very nice. Latex caulks, when they're clear, they go on, every one of them goes on white. So when if you use a clear and it's a latex and you're starting to caulk, and it goes on white, don't worry, it will turn clear in 7 to 14 days. Generally less than that. If you have a real thick bead of clear caulk, it will take a little longer. But if you're just using a normal clear caulk around your granite countertops or anything like that, and it's a latex, it will go on white, but you'll see it start turning clear within a couple hours, generally. Okay.
For example, in my washroom, only like this is coming out.
Yep.
But the seal was still there. It's still there. I could just only that.
Yeah, yes. You can use this if you want to, if it's white. Now, the squeeze tubes that are there are only white. They're kitchen and bath. They're either white and clear or this white painter's type of product. Yeah, you have to use something this size. If you only want a little bit, this is a good way to go.
The brand, that's the name?
Yeah,
Alex Plus.
of course.
Alex Plus.
So I guess, oh, sorry, go ahead.
The bead with the latex is so easy. I mean, you push the bead, take your wet finger and you go across. With the silicone, how does that work in terms of having a nice bead?
I guess what you could do, there's a couple ways to go. A wet finger still works because it'll add some lubrication, I guess you could say. So you're not pulling a silicone bead with a dry finger. So you won't run the risk of having it pull in a weird way. Some people spray alcohol on it and then you can pull a bead. I think for our purposes, a wet finger is fine for silicone too. Yeah, you'll be fine with that. I guess we'll wrap it up then. Yes, one question.
I came in about 5 minutes late, and I think you went over the stuff you apply in the kitchen.
Yeah.
The molding around my sink is or the top around my sink is starting to mold. I need to scrape that out. So
Oh, you got here after that. Okay, so what I started with was surface prep and specifically removal. Now, what you want to use is use a blade to kind of put a V notch into that caulk area, whether is it granite or what do you have on your countertop? Yeah, just be careful because you don't want to scratch it. I mean, that sort of thing. What I want you to use then is a caulk remover. So really, this happens to be the best one they have on the shelf. You spray this on there, and what it does, it doesn't melt or remove the caulk. It just helps reduce the bond from the caulk to the surface to make it easier to scrape. And then what I would do is I would get a sharp plastic scraper, not metal, because you don't want to gouge or mar or do any other damage to the surface that you're on. Once you use this type of product, it'll make it easier to remove anyway. Then you follow that up with an acetone wipe or denatured alcohol once that's clean. And then you let it dry, and then you can put anything you want on top of that. What color was it now? Yeah, so you can use, actually, where is our Quick Seal Ultra? Here it is. This comes in a clear. It's a latex. It doesn't stain granite, and it'll stay clear. It will not mold for the life of the product. So, yep, thanks. You know, acetone does a nice job of helping get rid of whatever residual silicone is down there. And really, a good way to tell if it's silicone or not, if it's super rubbery, then it's probably silicone. If it's a little stiffer, then it's probably a latex. That'll be a little easier to clean up. I still want you to wipe with acetone and then denatured alcohol. Or isopropyl alcohol. Everybody's got that at home.